If you grew up in the 90s, you had an awesome childhood. And more so, if you had elder brothers who loved football, you had a great childhood filled with memories. Remember the 10-shilling Home Cup team pack? Ah, you might not. But if you do, you pretty well know your soccer and you have loved it for some time now. But this is not that story about tea packs. You know, the thing about this particular brand of tea packs is that it celebrated our football players. In every pack of the same, it did come with a player portrait, his jersey number and his position.
Ona ile blanda oe chansi moja katumiwa hiyo jamaa. Ozizo yetu bado ngoma.
This is the story of recognizing our legends. Men so good on the pitch that I feel the need to preserve a piece of them. Men so good that fans felt the names given to them by their parents were not enough and did not do them enough justice. These were the days that the only channel that brought you all the KPL games live. Never mind, by then we did not care about camera work. We didn't care about the replays even. How many TVs were available then? I remember there was only one TV set in our locality for a population of close to, if not more than 1,000 people. But every weekend around 3 p.m., we the fans convened at the social hall to catch the KPL action.
Ona ile blanda oe chansi moja katumiwa hiyo jamaa.
But this is not that story either. Do not be deceived. This is not a story about tea packs, nor is it about Channel 1, nor is it about one TV set in a neighborhood that I lived in. This is the story about an ex-Kenyan international. This is the story of John Odi Kasongo. This is the story of a man who scored one of the earliest goals in our league history, the game between Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards. The ball was well placed at the center. Gor Mahia goes for the kickoff. It was an attack cleared by AFC defender Sebastian Andulu, who kicked it off past Polo Chieng, past Tobias Ochola, and John Odi had the ball and ran towards the goal. Joseph Asembo was in between the poles, checking his position, left and back right. Setting himself up for the game, Odi spotted his location and placed the ball on his left. And that's probably the fastest goal ever in the Premier League. But we will never know. In July of 1964, a son had arrived in this world. What was not known then was who he will later grow up to be. Simply put, he will turn out to be one of the greatest footballers of his time. John Odi Kasongo was born in Nairobi's Jericho Estate. Those who know this estate know that it has produced some great talents, such as Johnston Kefa, Shoto Lukoye, Ghost Mule, and Musa Otieno, among others. He attended Jogo Primary School after and later graced Aquinas High School. John Odi Kasongo played for one of the biggest clubs in the country, AFC Leopards and Reunion, and later represented his country, Kenya, by adorning the Harambee Stars jersey. His football journey began while he was in Form 2, when the country had 4 soccer youth centers, or as they were known, Olympic centers. He was selected among the likes of Ayoyi, Josephat Murila, the late Sami Onyango Jogo, Austin Odwor, among others, to sharpen his skills in these centers. Most of these players moved on to leave their mark on our pitches, and their names are forever etched on our lips. The 4 youth centers were based in Nairobi under the stewardship of George Njaya, where Odi was based. Nakuru was under Sami Nyongesa, Kisumu was being steered by Paul Otuoro, and Mombasa was in the able hands of Mohamed Keri, who also doubled up as the Stars coach. All these Olympic centers were being funded by Germany under the main man Bernhard Scholl. The results of these academies are in the big names that keep coming up from time to time when our football is being talked about. While playing football is all he wanted, that opportunity presented itself in 1981 when a scout took him to join Reunion. John Odi Kasongo did not stay at Reunion. Instead, he ran away. Apparently on arrival, he found very masculine players that scared him. Players such as Ben Omaya, Japolo, who lived by the code, if the ball went past me, your feet will not. Apollo Obota, the late Martin Oswayo Ochieng, his uncle. These were men so huge that they scared the young Odi to run away without thinking twice. With his size, Odi, who played at the back as a defender, did not look forward to going against players such as Masiga, Tony Lidonde, Ameno Muse from Kahawa Cannon, who were huge strikers in the Premier League then. One thing he knew was that he could not go against these men of God. It was on the 15th of June 1982 that the boy was ready to make another try on the pitch after he was signed at Reunion. He was a Form 4 student. Ben Omaya, who is now the team manager, inducted him into the team. By now, Odi had changed positions. He was not up to the task to defend the caliber of players that were playing in the league. For 3 months, he was put to vigorous training at Pumwani Sports Ground, and yet he did not make it to the first 11. He remembers that their lineup used to be read at Forest Lodge Westlands. They used to sit outside. The lineup was read out aloud, and if you had made it, you were safe. If you were not in the lineup, you were on your own. And it was up to your teammates to collect some coins for you to get your ticket back home. His fond memories of the days were when they were to play Canon Sportive, who were en route home from an assignment. He remembers how the team had asked for an appearance fee of 15,000 shillings before playing Reunion, while they at Reunion were being given 21 shillings for a group of 7 to split amongst themselves. After 45 minutes of the match, Canon Sportive refused to resume play unless they were paid in full, which the management did. The Premier League was a busy schedule then for all year round, as there were 22 teams participating in the league. For Odi, the more a player plays, the more fit he gets. He remembers with nostalgia the days at Makongeni, Ziwani, and Jericho, where more talent was brewed in the open, dusty pitches, with disappointment on his face as such scenes no longer exist. Either all the land has been grabbed and there are no more open spaces for talent to grow within the city, which once bubbled with talent and hope. It was not until the late Eric Omonge, a striker and also ex-Kenyan international, may his soul rest in peace, got transferred to Mombasa that Odi got his chance to adorn the Reunion jersey. While at Mombasa, Omonge had relaxed and not trained. It was a meeting with AFC that saw Omonge get a call to come back to Nairobi to represent his team, as this was one of the biggest meetings. Odi had hoped to get his big break on this day, but Omonge had shown and secured his position 7 as usual, even though the team manager had doubts about him. For even while he was in Nairobi, he used to skip training, but still, for a player of his caliber, he commanded quite a lot of respect within the team. He was a player worth his name. After 15 minutes of play, Omonge had his hands up asking to be substituted, but the TM could not take any of it and insisted that Omonge do the 90 minutes of play. After the first half was through, Omonge took off his shoes and refused to go back onto the field of play. And that is how Kasongo got his chance. And from there on, he adorned the jersey number 7 without looking back. His move from Reunion to AFC Leopards was albeit dramatic than the dream that it should have been. Odi was the then captain of the team. Apparently, the chairman of the team thought him to be too old for Reunion and they had to let him go, while all this time the issue was all about pay. The pay of 2,000 shillings only. Odi was only 28 years old when the chairman of Reunion, one Mr. Onyango, ruled him out as old. In 1992, Jack Johnson had left Reunion to join AFC Leopards. That was when he called on Odi Kasongo to join him at AFC Leopards. He promised Kasongo 40,000 shillings pay. Odi had asked for up to 70,000 shillings. The year is 1992. His first meeting was at Stanley Hotel together with the then AFC patron Cyrus Jirongo. 24 hours later, he was sitting in the back seat of a Mercedes-Benz near the YMCA. Up to date, he does not know who passed the money to him. He was handed 70,000 shillings from the front seat. In the morning, he made his way home, running, handed the envelope to his wife, and he was again running back to camp. From Mathare Estate all the way back. This is his all-time lineup while at Reunion FC. In between the poles was the late John Owor, the late Kale Bonyango, Kale Kale, Fred Umara, the late Apollo Obota, Alex Mwalo, Mark Shida, the late Eric Omonge, the late Musa Bazoka, the late Charles Ochieng, Washington Odhiambo, and the man himself, John Odi Kasongo. For the national team, this is his best team ever. In between the poles was Mohamud Abbas, Hussein Keri, Ken Obasanga Nabiso, Bobby Ogola, $6 million man, Josephat Murila, Attorney General, Controller, Sami Tabu, Luambo, Eliadero, Langa, the late Charles Otieno, Gor Mahia Engine, Joe Masiga, Wilberforce Mulamba, and Ambrose Ayoyi, Golden Boy. Interestingly, Odi's kids have given sports a wide breadth and would rather concentrate on academics. Even though one of his sons plays rugby for KCB's 15-a-side, the rest cannot see the fruit of his footballing days. Like many other football legends out there, the only thing his family celebrates is his name. A name bigger than the person himself. Today he strolls the streets of Nairobi and you would not easily notice the man. Even if you sat next to him, you would not be able to tell his achievements, which are not mean by any chance. Another rider is he never got to play for Gor Mahia, though he dreamt about it. On matters afflicting our football today, he places the blame squarely on poor club management, plus the local soccer management that has nothing to pride itself in. Finally, he concludes that players today are in a hurry to make it big, and patience is what they lack. In his final shot, he did what he did for the love of the game. This is the story of John Odi Kasongo, probably the first player in history to be signed in the Kenya Premier League to be signed from another club at a cost of 70,000 shillings. The player who probably scored the fastest goal in history of the Kenya Premier League. This is the story of John Odi Kasongo, the player who was kicked out of Reunion for being old, moved to AFC Leopards and later moved back to Reunion, older than he left.